use as it's a parody. If you don't have a sense of humor, go. Welcome. Is this my reality? Is this your reality? Welcome to Not My Reality. Can you imagine an all-powerful group that knows no national boundaries, that's above the law of all countries, one that controls every aspect of politics, religion, commerce and industry, banking, insurance, mining, the drug trade, the petroleum industry, a group answerable to no one but its own members? To the vast majority of us, such a group would appear to be beyond the realms of possibilities and capabilities of any given organization. If that is what you believe, then you are in the majority. The concept of a secret elite group exercising control of every aspect of our lives is beyond our comprehension. Americans are prone to say, it can't happen here. Our Constitution forbids it. But there is such a body, and it's called the Committee of 300. When most people attempt to address these problems, they speak or write about the they. Who is the they everyone talks about? Well, this video tells precisely who the they are and what they have planned for our future and how they have been at war with the American nation for over 50 years, a war which we are on the brink of losing, what methods they use, and exactly how they have brainwashed us. Are you puzzled? Are you asking what the is going on? Why are things occurring that we as a nation don't like, yet we're powerless to prevent? Ask yourself, why is it that the United States always seems to back the wrong horse? Ask yourself this, why the United States is in a depression from which we might not emerge? Ask yourself, why is our former social and moral values, why have they been turned aside and seemingly buried? If you're confused by the many conspiracy theories, understanding the Committee of 300 will clearly establish that these conditions have been deliberately created to bring us to our knees. Support this channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. Two of the other people that talked about this subject, they're not around to talk about anything anymore. So keep a lookout for me. The Committee of 300, also known as the Olympians, is a theory that claims a powerful group was founded by the British aristocracy in 1727 and rules the world. Proponents of the theory alleging the committee's existence believe it to be an international council that organizes politics, commerce, banking, media, and the military for centralized global efforts. Members of the Committee of 300 are basically the people who run the world today. Above them, there is another group. It's called the Council of 33. And above that, there is yet another group, the Council of 13, aka the Crown Council of 13, which is made up of just 13 of the most powerful families on earth. The important thing about these families is not just their incredible wealth, but also their very long ancestry. These families can allegedly trace their lineages all the way back to the ancient gods who gave Earth's leadership to their demigod offsprings, i.e. the children that the gods had with human women, before leaving Earth with the promise to return in the future. So these families think their lineage traces all the way back to the fallen ones. These 13 families are considered top of the hierarchy of the global elite and all have ties to each other through marriage as well as blood, so that the fortunes of each family are linked both to each other and to the success of the plan to create a new world order. How did we get here? The Committee of 300 is a product of the British East India Company's Council of 300. The East India Company was chartered by the British royal family in the 1600s. It made vast fortunes in the opium drug trade with China, and it became the largest company on earth in its time. Today, through many powerful alliances, the Committee of 300 rules the world and is the driving force behind the criminal agenda to create a new world order under a totalitarian global government. There is no use to use they or the enemy, except as shorthand. We know who they are. We know who the enemy is. And we know that they know that we know they know we know. The Committee of 300, with its aristocracy, its ownership of the U.S. Federal Reserve banking system, yeah, look into that one. The ownership of insurance companies, giant corporations, foundations, communication networks, all presided over by a hierarchy of the conspirators. This is our enemy. This is who the they are. Secret societies exist by deception. The members of the Committee of 300 are royals, top bankers, elite billionaires, top religious figures, media moguls, top military figures, and some top politicians. But I suspect that the generals and the politicians are not permanent members of the committee and that their seats can be vacated and filled by others if necessary. On the orders of the Committee of 300, the COR is set up, the Club of Rome. The Club of Rome is the chief think tank for the New World Order. The COR plays a vital role in all U.S. government planning, internal and external. It has nothing to do with Rome, Italy, or the Catholic Church. The COR is a New World Order, one world government project designed to facilitate a swifter transition to universal slavery known as the New Dark Age under the control of the Committee of 300. The Club of Rome consists of the oldest members of the so-called black nobility of Europe. These are descendants of the ancient families who owned, controlled, and ran Genoa and Venice in the 12th century. They are called the black nobility because of their use of dirty tricks, murder, terrorism, unethical behavior, and, of course, the worship of Satan. They used black deeds, it was said. They never hesitated to use force against anyone who dared to stand in their way, and this is no less true today than it was during the 13th to 18th centuries. It's become very clear what the Club of Rome's purpose is. This is what their objectives are: to retard industrial development, to hold back scientific research, to depopulate cities, especially the formerly industrialized cities of North America, to move people to rural areas, to cull the population of the world by, get this, at least 2 billion people. That's a lot of people. Prevent reorganization of political forces who oppose COR plans, destabilize the United States through massive layoffs and the loss of jobs and class and racial wars, destroy capital incentive through high interest rates and high capital gains taxes. Is any of that going on right now? The Committee of 300 is the ultimate secret society made up of the untouchable ruling class. This secret, all-powerful group is more in control of the United States in 2023 than ever before. All of the great historical events are planned in secret by men in high places with the intent to deceive us. No matter what societal structure is examined, there's always been a group of certain individuals in whom the need to control is paramount. During the last 3 centuries, we have seen a rise in the number of such individuals and societies, generally under the heading of secret societies, that have evinced this common characteristic. There are several organizations whose objective is to overthrow the United States Constitution, so that the United States can play the leadership role in the drive toward a one-world international communist New World Order government in a feudal society. Under such a cruel and repressive regime, people of the world would revert to serfdom in conditions far worse than those that existed in the Dark Ages. The New World Order will run on a tightly structured communist line. A new plan for the world called for an attack upon industrialized nations with advanced mechanized agricultural production and a slow but sure disintegration of industrial production. And this includes nuclear power generation, the destruction of hundreds of millions of people, referred to by the Committee of 300 as surplus population. Surplus population, you know what? All right? And the removal of any leader, JFK, for example, who dares to stand in the way of the committee's global planning to reach the foregoing objectives. Jacob DeHaas, he mentioned 300 men were in control of world events, even to selecting the American president, such as Woodrow Wilson, and the delegates who accompanied him to the League of Nations conference in Paris. DeHaas was assassinated for informing the world of the giant conspiracy of the Committee of 300. a fate also suffered by Walter Rathenau, who was murdered because he dared to openly speak about the Super Committee of 300 secret rulers. De Haas and Rathenau were well-informed men who were largely ignored because in the minds of people, it would take a secret society of dimensions beyond comprehension to carry out what these two men believed. And, of course, in the collective minds of people, such a colossal organization did not exist. Sure, it's not like the Committee of 300 controls the Council of Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, CINI Foundation, the National Security Council, the Club of Rome, and many others. Here we have another example of the Committee of 300 secretly ruling the world behind the scenes. Let's talk about Tavistock. This should be pretty relevant to today's topics. You'll see. Tavistock is the best kept secret in America. What is Tavistock? The Tavistock Institute for Human Relations has had a profound effect on the moral, spiritual, cultural, political, and economic policies of the United States of America and Great Britain. It has been in the front line of the attack on the United States Constitution and state constitutions. No group did more to propagandize the U.S. to participate in World War I, at a time when the majority of the American people were opposed to it. Much the same tactics were used by the social science scientists at Tavistock to get the United States into World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Serbia, and both wars against Iraq. The youth of the land will be encouraged by means of rock and rap music and drugs to rebel against the status quo, thus undermining and eventually destroying the family unit. In this regard, the committee commissioned Tavistock to prepare a blueprint on how this could be achieved. But they got caught. What is the Tavistock children scandal? Wait till you hear this. Concerning reports surrounding the Tavistock Center have surfaced in light of patients coming forward to reveal the truth about their treatment, with many struggling after undergoing radical and permanent transition surgery at a young age. These problems have been accumulating over the past few years, casting a shadow over the practices of the clinic and its satellite clinics. In the clinic's 35-year history, it has treated over 9,000 children for gender dysphoria. But there are concerns that the potentially hundreds of people under the age of 17 that were rushed into taking hormones, commonly known as puberty blockers, without adequate therapy beforehand. See how it all fits together like a giant spider's web? The Committee of 300 having Tavistock to push the sick agenda on children, using MK Ultra techniques to get young children to undergo radical transition surgery like some kind of Baphometic ritual. We will do a whole video on Tavistock, but this is an example of how the Committee of 300, through the institutions they own, are pushing a satanic agenda. You now see this everywhere you look. We could go on for hours about the Committee of 300 and all of their powerful connections, but if you really want to do something, go check out the book, The Conspirators' Hierarchy, by John Coleman. This will go into much more depth than we can possibly do in a video. But what's our conclusion? Do we here at Not My Reality believe there's a small group of powerful people ruling the world? Yes, we do. Do we believe these people are evil and perhaps are doing the bidding of hidden entities? There's a possibility. Definitely not up to any good. Are the Committee of 300 and the Council of 33, and above them the Council of 13, are they actually in the bloodlines of the fallen angels? Or they just like to say that? They ask all the time, who are they? Who's they? The they you talk of? Well, this is the they, and I have a list of the they, allegedly. So, I'm just going to scroll this on by, and I'll see you on the other side. There's our list of the Committee of 300. Allegedly. Wink, wink. Not saying it's real, but maybe it's real. What say you? Do you think there's a possibility there's a Committee of 300 where rich and powerful people from the same families rule the world? Or you think that's just nonsense and everything's a coincidence? Leave a comment down below. Now let's get the fuck out of here before they really come and get us. No, seriously, these people are bad news.